everybody, today I'm giving you a book review, which is something that I don't generally do. Just so you guys know, when I actually do book reviews, I tend to do them looking quite disheveled because I've just finished reading in bed and now I'm coming here to talk to you either because I'm really enthusiastically wanting to tell you about a book because it's amazing, or I just did not like the book and I want to rant about it. This book, Yes Please by Amy Poehler, exceeded all expectations, so of course I want to talk about it because I give it like 10 out of 5 stars. If you guys don't know who Amy Poehler is, she is a comedian. She's about 40 years old and she has been in the comedy business for a very long time, and she has worked her way up and she is amazing. She was on SNL and she has been in movies such as Baby Mama, and very recently They Came Together. She is also the star of the show Parks and Recreation, which a lot of you might know her from. That's how I know her, and that's why I wanted to read this book. Now, this memoir is often compared to Tina Fey's Bossy Pants. I read Bossy Pants about 3 years ago and I gave it 2 stars, unfortunately. After I read this book, I felt that I needed to reread this one, and I probably will very soon. As you could probably see, during my first reading, I did dog-ear a lot of pages, so there has to be something there. I just didn't like it as much. A reason that I know in particular that I didn't like this one as much is because I was not happy with reading about SNL for half of the book. I just wasn't interested whatsoever. Amy Poehler does mention a lot of SNL in her novel. It was very different for me when Amy Poehler was talking about it. For one, Amy Poehler is an incredible writer, and you can tell that she's written comedic sketches during her life, but this isn't all comedic sketches, obviously. This is just actual writing about her life, and it is fantastic writing. She's very witty and wonderful and inspiring. So when she was talking about SNL and the different ways that she got onto SNL, she talked about it in such a way that I actually went onto Hulu Plus and watched so many SNL episodes and actually grew to really appreciate what these improv people do. The fact that Amy Poehler's writing made me want to go look at her work is a very wonderful thing, I think. So we already have that she's witty, she's inspiring, and she made me want to look at her work by reading her novel, which is incredible. Also, Amy Poehler is just an inspiring woman in general. Something that Amy Poehler does, and you can tell throughout the novel, throughout her little anecdotes and whatnot, is she acts first and thinks second, which is something that not a lot of people do, and that's something that I've wanted to do because of the way that Amy Poehler gets shit done by doing this. Amy Poehler will just do something, she'll act, and then afterwards she'll either be like, oh, that was a great idea, or maybe I should have done that differently. Nobody does that. Most people think first and then act. That's what I do. Amy Poehler does it differently, and I totally respect her for that. She is so awesome. And all the anecdotes that she talks about are either hilarious or very tragic, but semi-heartwarming because they always have something good in the end. She always has just a little message in the end that makes you feel better about the things that you've done. I was never bored reading this book, which was another fantastic thing. And it wasn't because it was a grabby book, where a lot of celebrity books, they tend to just want to grab your attention with like, oh, 10 things that I hate, or 10 things that I learned in show business, or something like that. And while she does have little lists thrown in here, I was so very interested in her life, and I didn't want the book to end. I was at the last 30 pages for about a week, and I just finished it this morning because I couldn't help myself. I wanted to read it, but I just didn't want this book to end. Book people, you know that that never happens. Even if you don't know who Amy Poehler is, I would totally suggest picking this up because I think it is wonderful and you'll want to learn more about her life. I was debating at first whether or not to pick up the audiobook or the physical book. In the end, I'm very happy that I picked up the physical book for 2 reasons. One, this book is beautifully done. Throughout the entire book, you have photographs like this and also actual letters that she has and pictures that she's drawn. Chapters start out with pictures of her like this, which is just great. And then also you have notes from Amy Poehler that look like this throughout the entire book, which these were my favorite. I Instagrammed so many of them. I just love how this book looks. The second reason why I'm really glad that I didn't pick up the audiobook is if I heard her voice, I would think of her more as a character because she always plays a character when I hear her voice, as opposed to actually hearing her as a human. So while I was reading this book, I was able to hear her more as a human in my head than hearing her actual voice and thinking of her as a character. I don't know if that makes sense, but that definitely makes sense in my head. Not to discourage anyone from getting the audiobook because I'm sure that it is wonderful, but it was just very important for my own reading experience to hear Amy Poehler's actual human voice in my head. So that's all that I have to say about Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Like I said, I gave it 10 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend it to anyone, even if you don't know who Amy Poehler is. That is all, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.